Hey, bookish friends, it's your girl Alyssa, and I'm here with a cozy, really cool little book directly from the author I want to share with y'all. It's got pirates, it's got romance, it's got drama. I'm here with the author of Devil of the Deep. This is Falencia Jean-Francois. Without further ado, hi, Valencia, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing well.
Yay! I cannot wait to talk about your book with you. But before we dive into this amazing story, I want to hear about your life and what got you into writing.
Well, I started writing fiction seriously when I was about 12 years old. I had a little bit of a turbulent childhood, and I was always looking for ways to kind of escape and find control. And so, someone had gifted me a maroon notebook, I think. And I just started writing this silly little story um, about my favorite band and me, and like winning a contest and spending a week with them. And it became um, my very first book, honestly. Um, I wrote it and then I rewrote it, and it was like something was clicking in my brain, like this feels really good, this feels amazing. I have to keep doing it. And so I just, I started there and I've been writing stories ever since.
That makes me so happy. I was immediately drawn into honestly the cover of this book. I know it's very taboo. A lot of people say don't judge the book by its cover, but if y'all saw the cover of Devil of the Deep, which is out now, you would be just as enchanted and enthralled as I was. And then I actually got my copy gifted by Jay's House, which is an amazing Black owned business. Everyone check them out. They are wonderful. I am an ambassador, but they're just amazing on their own. This copy has red sprayed edges, which links to the story a little bit. And the cover is just like the woman who is immersed in the waves is like pulling the waves like a dress. And there's a ship like in the ocean, and it's just so cool and amazing. I wanted to know, can you tell me a little bit about Devil of the Deep and what inspired the story?
Sure. Well, the story is inspired a lot by my own life, which isn't to say that I, am a pirate and have had adventures with mermaids. But a lot of the themes resonate with things that I have experienced in my life. There's a big theme of religious deconstruction. And that is something that I went through after being part of a religious organization for about 10 years, and then stepping away from that organization and doing the work of deconstructing my relationship with it. I also have been obsessed with pirates and mermaids since, childhood. I always wanted to see myself as a magical creature, and um, reading this story or writing the story and doing the research involved in learning the Haitian mythology that goes into it really helped me to discover the magic in being Haitian. Um, and so I took a lot of inspiration from being Haitian, being obsessed with mermaids, wanting to go on pirate adventures, and just uh, I'm not sure how I want to finish that off.
No, it's okay. I always
Okay.
think that like mermaids and sirens were very enchanting, especially in like Greek mythology as well, where they're part bird, part woman, part fish, I've read.
Mhm.
I think it's really cool how you were able to intertwine the mythology of Haitian culture as well as sirens and mermaids and the mystery and sometimes the horror of the sea. I
Mhm.
wanted to ask, was there any movies or shows that kind of pulled you into this draw of sirens and mermaids and pirates? I'm curious if you're a Pirates of the Caribbean girly or if you're someone who is very like visceral, like in a swimming pool playing mermaids with like your cousins and your friends.
It's a little bit of both. I have loved mermaids since childhood. I remember my first experience with mermaids. on TV was the movie Splash
Mm.
with Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah, and just wanting to be like Madison, who is the main mermaid in that movie. And I got older and discovered Pirates of the Caribbean. It came out, right around the time I was in, I want to say middle school, high school. Um, Not to like age myself. But like that type of adventure, that high stakes on the high seas, you never know what's going to happen next type of adventure definitely um, inspired the way that Devil of the Deep is written.
That makes me so happy. From the very first line of this book, I was pulled in. I was curious about where this was going to go. I also love the opening letter of your book. Is it okay if I read the back of the book and a little bit of the letter to listeners?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Okay. Lou watched the love of his life walk the plank and sink into the inky black depths of the sea. And I want to make sure I'm saying this character's right because her name right because I feel like I always pronounce characters' names wrong. Nena was dead,
Hmm.
or so he thought. 5 years later, Lieutenant Lou Ortega, dutiful fleet officer, embarks on a mission to hunt down a powerful talisman now in the hands of a runaway mermaid. On his quest, he discovers the impossible. Nena is still alive, fierce and cunning, and as breathtaking as ever. Nena's won enough bloody sword fights as a pirate captain to earn the nickname Devil of the Deep. She has come to reject the system of order that Luke clings to, and worse, she's protecting the very quarry he's tracking. Pearl Highwater, who has defied the all powerful sea god and might hold a valuable key to finding her people's lost island. When the tides and fates bring them together, Nina, Lou, and Pearl must choose their loyalties, find their courage, and race to protect the island from false gods and forces of evil, or risk unleashing an ancient curse that could destroy them all. So that's the description of the back of your amazing book. And I just want to read a little element of the beautiful dedication of this book to the two most influential people in my life, my wife Sandra and my Korean mom. And I want to make sure I'm saying her name right. Is it Charlene?
Hmm.
To every Black child who has had to wait to see themselves in the magic of the books they love. And the very first line of your amazing book, Chapter 1, The Fisherman. 20 years had passed since the fisherman's wife had returned to sea, yet he still reached for her every morning before the sun opened his eyes. Just that. When I first opened this beautiful book, I was like, what do you mean? I was like, I got questions. I need answers. I got questions. I need answers. And then whenever I envision pirates, I always envision the pirates from Pirates of the Caribbean who are walking underwater. And as the moonlight comes, you see their like bony bodies. And then the shadows come and they're like, have muscles again. And like they just emerge out of the ocean all creepy. This book gave me the same energy of that, where it was like, okay, who's evil, who's good, who loves someone who's kind of manipulative. I was wondering, while writing, did you visualize everything really clearly, like a movie in your mind, or was it more like the story kind of revealed itself to you on the page?
I did have a very clear vision when I was writing. And I've gotten feedback before that it felt very cinematic as you were reading it, and like it felt like the movie was playing in my head as I was writing it. So it was like a double treat for me because I got to watch the movie.
Hmm. What was the most challenging part of writing Devil of the Deep, and what do you want listeners to know about the story?
I would say the most challenging part would be the fight scenes, the choreography of negotiating two or more bodies in conflict is, it's a challenge. You want to make sure that people are moving in a way that makes sense, but you want it to also be exciting and visual. So I find that the fight scenes have to be the most descriptive. And in terms of something that I want people to take away from the book, I think like the thing that I want people to remember is that everything is intentional. I wrote the book somewhat quickly, but I had, like I said, a very clear vision for what I wanted for this first book of mine, and I did not take any decisions lightly in the story.
I love to know that because I feel like with these characters that we follow, your heart begins to kind of go with them. You don't want them to get hurt. You want them to both reach their goals while also not like if one character reaches their goal, another character is going to lose something and vice versa. And there are high stakes. And I really appreciate how in your story, the way you built the world was very like you could be immersed in it and it wasn't overwhelming. It felt really easy to understand, and I loved that. There are elements of queerness and the Black experience in this story, and I wanted to know a little bit about how that was writing for you, and is that important to you?
Yeah, incorporating the queerness was definitely one of those impactful, intentional decisions, if not the most intentional decision. In doing the research for this story, I learned a lot about the Caribbean's relationship with queerness, particularly Haiti's relationship with queerness. And I envision a version of Haiti where the relationship with queerness is not so fraught. I want queer Haitians to feel pride in being able to call themselves Haitian, but also call themselves queer. Um, and I want non-queer Haitians to see that no there's really no harm in accepting queer Haitians as part of the Haitian identity.
As someone who loves an amazing queer person who is also Haitian, there's so much beauty in this culture and there's so much love in the community. And I think that there's a lot to be unpacked, a lot to be discussed. And for listeners who are out there, unfortunately, there in many cultures, a lot of folks aren't LGBTQIA plus supportive or are willing to kind of acknowledge the complexities of not only race and sexuality and gender, but the intersectionality of it all. And religion plays a major role in that. And that goes across many cultures. And I wanted to ask, what are some things that you learned while doing the research for this book? And how did that kind of intertwine with the fantasy element? Was that a level of like freedom to write about it? Or was it emotionally kind of difficult?
First I'll say I learned so much about Haitian culture in doing the research for this book. And it was Haitian culture that even I, growing up, like I was born in Haiti. I lived there until I was 3 years old, and then I moved to the United States, but I was still firmly ensconced in Haitian culture. And the elements of Haitian voodoo that I discovered in doing research for this book um, never came up in my home life. It was very strictly, we were Catholic. And so it was evident of like the split from the, I want to say religious practices that existed in Haiti prior to the introduction of Christianity.
Mm.
Um, so those ancestral beliefs, um we were separated from them, and so I while researching rediscovered this element of my culture that I didn't even know existed in a positive way. People talked about voodoo as like hush hush taboo, but it's a legitimate practice, and it's beautiful. And so I'm sorry, I feel like I'm rambling.
No, it's okay. Keep going. You're doing great.
Okay. So what was the other part of your question?
Course. What was the connection between fantasy, Haitian community, and queerness? Because I feel like with the sirens, mermaids, and pirates, which are very historically like they were a thing and probably still are very much a thing. I do not doubt it, but I was wondering if that connection to fantasy, queerness, and the Haitian community was that freeing for you to write about it in that way, or was it kind of difficult because like you would have to go into fantasy to kind of give comfort and safety to the characters where they maybe wouldn't have had that in real life?
Mhm.
Was it freeing for you to write that way, or was it kind of like emotional?
It was definitely more emotional when I thought about the reality of existing as a queer person in Haiti.
Mm.
And it was freeing because I got to use the fantasy genre as a vehicle for, um, at least in my mind, creating that version of Haiti where being a queer person is not so full of strife. Um, I like to think of it as aspirational, because I do believe that, we as Haitians can get there, if it's going to take changing one mind at a time.
I believe that it's very possible. I'm very grateful that my partner's grandparents, who maybe were not as supportive when they initially came out, this is not my story to tell, but they're very supportive now. They're very loving now, and they are very devout in their faith, and they still love them, and I think that's beautiful. And now it leaves room for when I came around for us to be together and to build our lives together. And their grandmother is so sweet to me, and I think that's a very magical, beautiful thing to experience. A love that transcends hate and miscommunication and these rules, like who set these rules, like things like that. I think it's really healing and beautiful. And I think that your book is a major discussion point for folks who read it across many ages who could kind of build conversation and unpack things. And I think that's so amazing. It's also just a wonderful book in general. I wanted to ask you, and I know it may take a minute to kind of pull the favorite line. Were there any quotes from your book or any lines that you want to share with listeners? If you need a minute, don't worry. I can read the opening letter to listeners while you find the quote, if you'd like.
Oh, sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, take your time. I have the letter. It came with my book box. It is so beautiful, and I will read it to listeners while you find your line. Dear reader, thank you for reading Devil of the Deep. I wrote and published this book for so many reasons. First, Devil of the Deep was originally an indie publication, and while it is now being republished under Left Unread Books by way of Bindery Books, its spirit remains indie. Your support of Devil of the Deep directly supports Black and Brown indie authors like me and helps to create space for us in a tough landscape. Second, I was born in Port-au-Prince, which I also know someone who was born there. Super cool. Haiti. And though I left when I was a small child, I have always carried its spirit with me. If you follow the news, you've seen the reports of the increased gang violence and civil unrest in Haiti. But did you know that Haiti was the first successful slave rebellion in Western Hemisphere? Whoop, whoop. Did you know that Haiti was the first free Black nation in the world? Once I understand that only a certain perspective of my little country was newsworthy, I made a promise to showcase Haiti in my work as often as I could. Haiti as it was and as it could be. Third, the characters in this book are like me, proudly queer and proudly Caribbean. There are many island folk who believe this combination of identities to be impossible, who believe that queerness is something unnatural, brought from foreign shores, that is the root cause of all of Haiti's hardships. I assure you this is not true. Change is something, change is coming, but there are many challenges to surmount to get to the heart of this issue. It will take time, and until then, to folks reading this who are also like me, I see you and I love you. Finally, when I was a kid growing up in suburban Massachusetts, I am also from Massachusetts, but I grew up in Florida. All of the beautiful, magical, and powerful creatures in the books and on television were white. Even though no one explicitly said they couldn't be Black, I understood that there was a legitimate reason for why I almost never saw any Black mermaids or goddesses or vampires in the media I consumed. There wasn't. It was just white people making the creative choices and whether intentionally or unintentionally, leaving Black people out. I am so proud to be part of a movement that rectifies this wrong. Black is beautiful. Black is magical. Black is powerful. And Black people deserve to take up space in science fiction and in fantasy. I know that's right. I look forward to writing many more magical Black characters for you to enjoy. I hope you enjoy this copy of Devil of the Deep. I did, and I hope it and I hope its story becomes as special to you as it is to me. With love, and this is from you, the author of the book. I also like have kept my bookmark from Jay's house, which has some quotes from the story. I am the devil they will come to fear. We must live each and every day as though our destiny will be upon us. And I love it so much. Jay's House, I love y'all. Another black owned business by two best friends. And I just love your book so much. And I can't wait to hear the line that you personally want to share with listeners.
Um, this is this might seem like a little bit of a curveball if you've actually read the book, but the line that I come back to the most is, I let destiny decide and destiny chose you. And if you've read the book, you know that moment. And if you haven't, it is a pivotal moment in the story. And it sort of plays with the idea of whether or not we are, like how much control we actually have over our own choices. So,
Mm. I love that you shared that line. I was low key hoping you would. Um, I wanted to ask, as we near the end of the episode, this is more of a philosophical question, but I feel like it kind of comes up in your book a lot. And for listeners out there who haven't read it, this is something you have to look forward to. What are your views of fate? And do you think mermaids or sirens are real?
ooh, okay. So I
Yep, take your time.
it
It's a big question. It's a big question.
is I don't want to believe in fate, but I have had too many things happen in my life that feel like they were meant to be. Meeting my wife is one of them. I feel like our relationship is something that, like, not to toot my own horn, but transcends time and space. Like, we have known each other forever and we will know each other forever. And we're fated to be together. Um, and so, when amazing things like that happen, I um I can't constrict myself to just what I know is possible. And then
Yeah, are sirens and mermaids real?
are sirens and mermaids real?
In your
I
personal opinion.
I want them to be, so I'm gonna say yes.
Okay. I love to hear it. I really appreciate you for sharing Devil of the Deep with the world. What do you want listeners to know about this book before reading it?
Um, Clear your schedule because you're
Oh,
not going to be able to stop.
that's 100% true. I also want to ask my final question. What are three words you would use to describe Devil of the Deep? And you cannot use the title. You cannot use the title.
Oh man. Okay. Um, Exciting and heart-wrenching, and I can't use the title. I want to say deep, but I can't.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
Profound.
That was a good one. That was a good
All
one.
right.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Do you have any upcoming events, any information you want to share with listeners? I'll have your Instagram linked below, as well as the
Mhm.
book link below. But is there anything that you want to shout out coming up?
Sure. I'm going to be at Dungeon Books in Jersey City on May 30th, for a signing event, and I would love for you who is listening right now to be there.
Okay. And I will share your Instagram there so folks can check out the event and see if they can get tickets and go. Thank you so much for listening. Where can everyone find you and find your books?
My books are everywhere books are sold, which is amazing to be able to say. And I am mostly on Instagram these days. at Falencia the storyteller.
Thank you for coming on the podcast. You were absolutely wonderful. Everyone who listened, please like and subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, and grab Devil of the Deep as soon as you can. It is so amazing, and I promise the author was right. You will not have time for anything else in the best way possible. Have an amazing day, and thank you so much for reading and listening. Bye.